Hi friends, this is CC and welcome to Hobby Hands. In this vlog, we are going to turn this into this. Yes, today we're going to do a build of this, which is the Airfix 1/72 scale Westland Whirlwind HAS.22. Nice little heli, and it's noted here that it's a vintage classic. On the box, it actually tells me that the tooling from this kit was from 1956, and that's why it's the classic vintage. So let's have a look inside the box. The parts are not bagged, and when you look at the parts, the fuselage, you will see that there's a lot of rivets and there's no panel lines, so that's probably where the tooling is from, a vintage one. So what I'll do is I might have to make my own panel lines. There's not a lot of flash in the main bits. The details are actually quite soft, especially up here. In this one you can see a tiny bit of flash with some of the parts. And here you can see that the good thing about this kit is that there's two pilots included. I haven't painted a pilot in a long time. This is the clear parts. The clear parts actually look a little bit rough and might not be too clear. We'll see how we go. Let's start. So the first thing we're going to do is the interior of the heli, including the two pilots. So I've written there the equivalent for the Humbrol references and what they actually mean. I should have most of those paint available. And that's the interior of the heli as well, the cockpit area, including the interior of the fuselage. So let's take off the two pilots first. I'm quite excited. I haven't painted pilots, or I haven't worked on pilots in a long time. So what I do here is to just remove the lines, the mold lines. So cut off all the parts for the interior bit. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is to start painting the pilots. So they get a white helmet, a yellow vest, probably an olive uniform, and this is the interior bit of the aircraft. And that's the cockpit floor. And also the interior of the fuselage. Alright, what I'm doing here is to give the pilots a gloss coat. And now I'm going to do is do a bit of dry brushing. So just dry brush the internal parts to pick out the details. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is to scrap panel lines into the heli. I'm using scribers and scribing tape. On the side of the box, actually, there's a view of the heli, and it looks like it's got the correct lines, which I'm going to copy as I make my panel lines. I'm going to make it look like that illustration on the box. So first I stick on the scribing tape, which will guide me when I do the scribe, and I can do it in a straight line. So I'll use the pin scriber. That's my favorite one. So just light moves initially, and then as you go along you put a bit more pressure. There you go. I'll take off the tape and see that there's a nice straight panel line now. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is actually dip all the clear parts into floor polish. Simple process, just dip it in there, shake off the excess, and then blot off the remaining excess on kitchen towel. Once done, we're going to put it into a container and then cover it off so that dust doesn't stick to the glass, the clear parts, like that. Alright, so the next thing that I'm doing here is now applying wash to the pilots to pick up the shadows. And then with a cotton bud and some thinner, just clean off smudges. I'm painting on details now, like the oxygen tube, the belts, Alright, next thing I'm going to do is actually highlight with a dry brush on the pilots to pick out the high areas. Again, it gives it shadow and light effect. What I'm actually doing now is spraying flat clear onto the previously painted interior parts. Okay, friends, now that it's done, we're going to now put in the window pieces from the clear parts. Let's see what the fit looks like. So the window parts are actually very shiny, but it's not very clear. Looks like the imperfections are actually inside the plastic. Now for this large piece here, the three windows are molded into one piece and it doesn't fit very well. So what I'm going to do is actually to separate the pieces. Let's try. Fits better now once we've separated the big piece. Alright. So the next thing that I want to do is actually put some weight in front of the helicopter, just to make sure that it doesn't sit with it. It doesn't sit on its tail. Alright, so we're at the step now where the pilots and the cockpit pieces have been assembled, and we're going to now put it into the fuselage. So let's do that now. Alright, now to stick the weights or the ballast in front of the heli. A little bit there. Right, now it's time to assemble the two halves of the fuselage together. done. So this step, what I'm doing is to now attach the front windshield. So what I'm doing here now is I'm about to prepare the fuselage for sanding and for putty. As you can see, the joint lines are not the best. They don't align very well. So we would have to do a bit of filling and sanding here. So what I've done is put masking tape on both sides of the where the putty needs to go to. Thanks to the little tip from one of our friends. Alright, so let's start with the puttying. Alright, so we're at the stage where I've actually sanded and done enough putty for to do the sanding. I've actually had to take off the front windscreen, and so that when I do the sanding, it doesn't affect the windscreen. So I'll start with the 600 grit sanding stick, followed by 800, like that, and then followed by 2000 grit. Let's check along the way. And lastly with a 6000 grit sanding stick. Okay, done. It's as good as I can get it. So I have to rescribe some of the panel lines after the putty, because the putty has filled up the panel lines now. Okay, I'm going to now reinstall the front windscreen now. Now that the sanding and puttying is done. Now the Whirlwind is almost ready for painting, so I got to start masking the canopy. With the front windshield, the details of the frame are really weak, so I'm going to try this method. I'm going to first put some masking tape to act as the frame. Okay, a bit like that. So I've used masking tape for the frame, and now I'm going to use masking tape to cover up the clear bits, and I'll take off the masking tape for the frame soon after doing this. So now I can see where the frame is supposed to be. I use a toothpick to get rid of the bubbles, air bubbles. Alright, and now with a very sharp knife, I cut along the frame. Okay, so you can see all the masking has been done, and if you look at the front windscreen, you can see that I've removed the frame tapes now, and so the clear areas are the ones that actually need the masking. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is to now spray the framework for the front windscreen, and the color that I'm using is the same color as the interior of the aircraft. Alright, then the next thing that I'm doing is to spray the tips of the rotor blades with a yellow. Including the tail rotor as well. Alright, so now back to the body of the aircraft. I'm now painting the white color, which is on the top half of the fuselage. Alright, so if you look at these parts now, these are the parts that I painted yellow, which is the tips of the rotor blades, and as well the tip of the stabilizer. And now I need to mask off where the yellow is supposed to stay. So the next thing that I've done is to mask off the areas on the heli fuselage of the fuselage of the heli that need to remain white, and I'm painting the bottom green color. Right, all the painting's done and the masking has been removed. So what I'm doing here is giving the whole heli a couple of coats of clear gloss, after which I will now put panel line wash. So on the white areas I use a grey wash, in the darker coloured parts of the fuselage, or the darker coloured parts, will get a black panel line wash. Alright, so this I'm doing the black panel line wash now. These are the panel lines that I've scrubbed into the heli. Okay, as you can see now, the panel line wash has gone in, and there's a few smudged areas. So what I need to do now is to clean up all the smudges. I just use a cotton bud with some thinner and clean off the excess wash like that. And you end up with really nice, neat panel lines. Alright, so now we're going to put decals onto the Whirlwind, and we'll start with the white stripe on the side of the heli. Alright, now all the decals have gone on, so what I'm doing is give the whole heli another coat of clear gloss. This is to protect the decals. Now that the gloss has dried, what I'm doing is then giving the whole aircraft a coat or two of flat clear. All the parts have now been given a flat coat, and the parts are ready to go through the final assembly. If you have a look at the decals, they look like they've actually been painted on. Panel lines have also come out nicely. So let's do the final assembly. The first thing we're going to do is assemble the rotor blades. Okay, done. Let's work on the landing gear. We're going to do this side first. Putting on the wheels now. Putting in the front wheel. Alright friends, we are at the last step of assembling the Whirlwind. So everything is already done. So we only need to put on the tail rotor blade and the main rotor blade. So the main rotor blade is supposed to be fitted with this the shaft, but the shaft doesn't quite sit snugly. It's actually quite loose and it'll fall out anytime. So what I do here is I put some masking tape onto the rotor shaft. That should be enough, and just push it in there. There you go. Now it's nice and snug, and the blades can still turn. Perfect. And now to put on the tail rotor. You need to glue it on because it's not meant to turn. There you go. So there you go. The model is now complete. So the last thing we need to do is to remove the masking for the windows, and we will do that now. Okay. Working on the front windshield now. Alright. Now the whirlwind is all complete. The window masking has come off. There you go. You can see that it's all complete now. Final thoughts for this model. It's an interesting build. The fit was quite challenging. Had to use a fair bit of putty and then a fair bit of sanding to do. There were also no panel lines, so I had to scrap those in. While the clear bits are not that clear. One thing I must say about this model is it's a fun model to build. Why? I don't normally do pilots, and in this model we have two of them, so I quite enjoyed painting the pilots. I'm going to show you. There you go. The two pilots look pretty happy in there. And the other thing about this model, it's quite cute. Alright friends, hope you enjoyed that vlog. Please subscribe to my channel and please give me a like. And thank you very much for watching.